Today I'm using an old sheet to make a bag to store my homemade bread, but you can use a reusable bag like this for all kinds of dry goods like nuts, dried fruits, pasta, etc. I'm using a 100% cotton sheet, and here I'm opening part of the seam that has the elastic inside so I can get a straight piece of fabric. I would recommend using a natural material like cotton or linen. Linen especially is really good for keeping bread fresh. I just didn't have that at home right now, so I'm using cotton. If you're just using a piece of fabric, you can obviously skip this first part of the video where I have to open some seams. Here I'm ironing it to get all the wrinkles out. Here's another seam I have to open before I can start cutting. Fold the fabric with the wrong side of the fabric facing up. Now let's talk about the measurements. I'm making this bag for a bread loaf that has a round shape and is around 20 centimeters wide. So I decided I wanted the width of the bag to be 30 centimeters, so there's still a little bit of room. And then for the height, I chose 38 centimeters, so it's slightly longer than the width. So I want the bag to be 30 in width and 38 in length. On the sides and the bottom, I'm adding 1 centimeters for the seam allowance, and at the top, I'm adding 2.5 centimeters, which I will use to add my drawstring later. So the piece of fabric I'm cutting is 32 and 41.5 centimeters. You can make the bag any size and shape you want. You can make it more rectangular, so narrower. Mine is almost a square because the bread I'm using it for is round. Think about where you're going to store in the bag and decide which shape and size is the most suitable for that purpose. If you can't really figure it out, or if you want some inspiration, you can also check web shops that sell reusable food bags and check the measurements they use. Cut the fold on the side open so you have 2 pieces. Sew the bottom and sides together, leaving 4.5 centimeters open at the top. Turn the right side out and press the corners and sides with your iron so the seams are nice and flat. Okay, this is completely optional, but I'm adding a little embroidery of a bread loaf. You can check the timestamps in the video to skip forward if you don't want to do this. If you didn't skip forward, please enjoy a few minutes of my embroidery coming together. it's done. Okay, so while I was working with the fabric, I noticed it felt a little thin, and I was worried it wouldn't keep the bread fresh enough, and I also wanted to cover the embroidery inside the bag, so I decided to add another layer inside. I repeated all the first steps and made a new bag and put it inside the first bag, kind of as a lining. I used the same measurements except 1 centimeter shorter in length, so 40.5 centimeters. But if you feel like your fabric is thick enough for what you're using it for, you don't have to do this. Actually, I think most reusable bags I saw online were just 1 layer, so I think I'm just being a little extra here. Fold 0.5 centimeters, so half a centimeter at the top, and iron it so it stays in place. And then fold 2 centimeters and press with the iron again. I'm already adding my drawstrings in between the fold, and then I'll sew them together. But let me explain something about the drawstrings. I had these 2 white cords laying around in the house that were exactly the right width, so I really wanted to use them for this bag. I just thought they fit so well, but you're actually supposed to make this with double the amount of drawstring I used. I tried showing it in a drawing in the top left. I'll make it bigger in a second, but I would really recommend doing that instead of what I'm doing here, because with that method you'll get that drawstring effect where you can close the bag in one motion by pulling on both sides at the same time. And with the method I'm doing in the video, so with only 1 layer of strap, I can't do that. I have to close it by pulling both sides separately. And in this case, I don't really mind. I always prefer to use things I already have at home before I buy new materials, so that's why I did that. But if I had longer straps or cords, I would have done the official method. Basically, you'll need 2 long straps or cords that both go completely through the entire thing, but both in the opposite directions. So for the first strap, you'll start to insert the strap on the left side, and it will come out again on the left side after it went all the way through. And for this second strap, you'll start on the right side, and both ends of the second strap are on the right side. So you'll first sew the 2 centimeter fold so you create a tunnel, and then add the drawstring by attaching a safety pin on the end of the strap or cord and pulling it all the way through. If it's not clear, please let me know in the comments and I'll help. Tie knots on both sides and it's done. As you can see, I'm closing the bag by pulling each side separately. If you do the other method with the 2 long straps, you should be able to close the bag by pulling on both sides at the same time. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments.